Well, good afternoon, everyone. How are you? I hope everyone is doing well. I just wanted to say to everyone that it is a beautiful Thursday, and I'm so thankful and so blessed to be here. And I thank all of you for being here as well. Today, I wanted to go in for debating on a lot of conflicting views about what's going on in our world right now. Um, Sometimes it's kind of scary because we don't know what to expect. So, with um, I wanted to bring up a topic of fall to again what we want to Dina Marie. And our first topic, we maybe, as some of you know, maybe you don't, we do break my podcast up into four segments: wishes for the world, trending topics, and rep your city. So, we do our for the world, and with me that this particular topic has been very controversial, to say the least. It's very unfortunate, but action, you know, we have acts different. Well, just for the world. Like I said, I'm your host, Dee Marie. Indulge. Oh, yeah, we did get it out. We get it out for the of any type of no or do podcasts where we delve into intriguing lives of prominent figures. I'm the host, obviously, Dina Marie, and that's episode. Now, I know I don't really like talking about politics, and for me, this is more of a humanitarian topic opposed to it being about politics because this particular governor of Florida, as we're going to explore, he's very unique, and he has, I mean, yeah, he has an antique collection. Wow. But also his political beliefs, his tactics, and how he's just in general running the Sunshine State. I mean, I wish that some of you who were there would be here or on this show speaking about this because I'm not sure why things are happening the way that they're happening, but this is unbelievable. So let's begin by uncovering the lesser known side of the governor, DeSantis. His passion for antiques. Beyond his political arena, DeSantis is an avid collector of historical artifacts, and particularly antiques that capture the essence of Florida's rich history. So he really has a heart for Florida, and whatever he is seeing and his views are right now, I mean, nobody really wants to see him as a nice person or an understanding person or what have you. But basically, I've uncovered some information that indicates that, he's, you know, somewhat of a humanitarian. He likes vintage maps and antique furniture. Um, but basically, his uh, reflection and appreciation of antiques reflects the historical historical views. I mean, sorry, historical heritage of Florida. So with that, that I wanted to talk about is he has an eye for hidden treasures. Again, like his collection is a wide array, but I know we don't really want to talk about that. It's fascinating to see how his interest in history intertwines with his role as the state's leader. So that's what I want to talk about. How is all this affecting that? And if it is something that's affecting that, let's just begin by uncovering the lesser known side of Governor DeSantis. His passion, like I said, we know about the antiques, but absolutely, absolutely, it's intriguing. Just to see how he appreciates, different things and, complements his political career, yes, right? But if we shift gears and we can explore, we're going to shift and explore how DeSantos is basically running the city, the state. Sorry, you got my remotes. Had to turn on the air conditioner, guys. Um, but anyway, if we can just dove in, to explore his beliefs and tactics. His tenure has been marked by several key, initiatives, and his approach basically that have gamered attention. People are like, it's like, what is really, really going on with this? And so, but definitely, he's been known for his emphasis on limited government, individual liberties, and you know conservative principles. But he has implemented policies like tax cuts and deregulation and support for basically law enforcement. I mean, that's something I wish we could do here in LA. That's a whole different show. But he has, support for law enforcement. But he's also come up with some educational reforms and with the purpose of expanding the schools' uh, choice for options. One thing we heard about recently is, he does not want the word gay used in schools. Any inference to LGBTQ plus A plus community, he does not want to have anything to do with that or have schools talk anything about that. And I'm confused because what if there are students that are going to their school and they have same sex parents? Okay. Um, Anything that should be taught at school, I feel is nothing that should talk about home. If it has to do with their home life, then we need to allow their parents to discuss that. That's just like when my son was a toddler. I'll never forget because it really pissed me off. He goes to daycare, and when he comes home, he has this little picture, that they make. And it was one of those wanted posters, like the old Wild Wild West. It was one of those wanted posters. And and they had like the blackout face because back then we used to use black construction paper to uh outline the shape of our head. And so you knew that it was you. So basically we cut that out, put that on the paper so we knew it was him. And then anyway, long story short, they put race and they put African American. Now, I don't have a problem with it because that's what he is. But what I had a problem with is that he was a toddler, and that was not something that the teachers there should have been teaching him about. Period. They can't read, but at the same time, let's just say, you know, and they weren't big talkers, but that's why the pretty much the assignment and the actual art project was completely out of sorts, and it wasn't age appropriate. Like, I think that's something that you give them in first, second, or third grade so that they have a little more understandability for what they're drawing and what they're seeing, right? So this not kind of bothered me. It thoroughly bothered me. And I went to the school about it. And I told him, I said, look, um, as his mother, I prefer to be able to teach him about what race he is. I was like, he's a toddler, and at this point, as a toddler, there's no reason why he should be bringing home artwork with his race on it. I don't like that. I'm sorry. I mean, I apologize that if anybody feels some kind of way about that, but no, that's my responsibility. So in the same manner that DeSantis is saying, okay, we're not going to talk about the LGBTQA plus community on in school. I don't want y'all to say anything about being gay. They have a lawsuit with he has a lawsuit going up with Disney about the same scenario with the LGBTQ, and I just his initiatives and approaches that have been going on. Uh, both with Florida and beyond, and it's horrific in some scenarios. Now, he's been known for his emphasis on limited government, but by the same token, it's clear that Governor DeSantos, has a distinct vision for Florida. No, nobody's putting that out there and saying that. And who's to say that certain things don't need to be rectified and corrected? But if we zoom in on some of the tactics that he has and management style throughout his tenure, he's kind of basically faced various challenges, including natural disasters, public health crisis, and economic shifts. And so the way in navigate these situations, is basically he's been known for the emphasis of limited government, like we're saying, and these individual liberties, and we keep talking about those. But the thing about it is that he has adopted, proactive approaches to governing. And so in this during the crisis like the hurricane and COVID, you know, he was basically he mobilized a lot of resources really quick. So he activated some responses for emergency and issues, but what we know first of all is that he's not only political figure, but he's also a connoisseur of antiques. We get all of that. He's lacked various challenges. One of the things is with COVID, one significant debate that revolves around Governor DeSantos with COVID was handling it. Some critics argued that his approach focus did do like what a reopening on the state quickly, and he minimized restrictions and prioritized the economy over public health. So he didn't really take action because like naysayers. So he decided to do something a little bit different. And subsequently their state took forever to get over COVID. And I'm sure, even like now, there's some residual issues with that. But on the other hand, he did have efforts to balance both s- the city of Florida, relatively citying Florida rather, but he did have some relatively strong economic recoveries that compared to some of the other states. But another debate where he's concerned are the voting laws and elections. You know, I am not avoiding the deportation and the fact that, he is trying to move all of the non-citizen or resident people out of Florida as quickly as possible and sending them to different states. So this has been a huge um, sadness that's come over our world because many people that are here that have been here for years and years and years, I mean, how do you just get rid of them and their jobs and what they've been doing? You know, he has a stance on gun control, and also he's generated debates. There's a lot of supporters that he has, and they're pro Second Amendment. Okay. And their stance, is like, yeah, protect citizens' rights to bear arms. So, with all that being said, a lot of critics express concerns about some of his political risks that are associated with relaxed gun regulation and advocates for stricter gun control measures. But these are just a few of his examples. Some of the things that he's doing and stuff, you know, is horrible. And whatever you guys have to say about that, you should put that in the comments. I know that I am getting this podcast off the ground, and sometimes you guys do chime in, sometimes you don't, and I understand whatever you do and whatever you can contribute to the show is so welcomed. I'm definitely not being one-sided or saying that this is my view. A lot of times what I am doing is, um, I am basically bringing you news that either information be Florida, like I feel like it had he, of 17 basically to combat this effect. uh, And what I'm not clear on, and maybe that if these people that have been here, how they get here, and when they get here. The 10th of May is um, and basically what this basically will do is it's a e-verification system, and it's going to impose criminal penalties on individuals transported undocumented into Florida. Now I don't know how that works, but can you tell if someone was legally brought in or not? And it's like whatever. I just don't understand how that's going to work. Pay something in place so that on the 10th of May, when he signed that, the way that it's going to work, allegedly, is in retrospect now. How efficient it'll be, I don't know, because people find ways to cheat everything, right? But initially, it's an e-verification system, and it's going to impose criminal penalties on individuals transporting undocumented immigrants into Florida. And this legislation will require be required of the employer. So if someone comes to work for them, and I don't know if that's going to include us, or anyone that isn't an immigrant, but basically they're going to have to provide some type of e-verification for all of their employees. So those sanctions are really going to be very, impending on the state of Florida or whatever. But you know, trying to up with these regulations, they have to be in a good place. That's why a lot of people are living on their own because they don't have the paperwork to work, but they've got to take care of their family. So, like I said, this is this is crazy. And there have been questions about whether or not he's going to run for president, even though he's the governor of Florida. He doesn't have to. Um, he DeSantos, if he wants to reign as governor, to run for president, but the state landmarks address the rules. Landmakers adjust the rules, so he doesn't have to resign. Basically, they can adjust the rules if they want to. So we don't know what's going to happen. Some people say he was worse than Trump, and I don't make any comparisons on a political sense. I was just really taken aback by the immigration law, and you know, I see both sides, and that's my job as a podcaster, is to bring the news from this side and that side. That's why I talked about, he's a man other than, and most people that are pretty affluent are art collectors, and they get into very creative type things like collecting antiques. But on the flip side, it would be interesting to know some of his purposes of why he, I guess, wants to deport anyone, or, at this point, the way it sounds is that people are making a choice to leave because they can't work. there are some opinions that he is deporting them personally. I don't know what the real deal is, but please feel free and let us know about how you feel about what you think. Hey Vincent, nice to see you on. But to be honest, it is a heck of a situation that this world is enduring, and I don't know how again else to put it in such a way that people will be proactive with things, you know? But what's going on in the world is very much part of us, and we have to be vocal about that. Because if we're not, then a lot of things we don't hear about. You're not seeing, on the know. You're not talking to politicians, anybody to help allow you things is what we're talking about. So important that you we try to get in fit in, so to speak, because you know if you're sitting around and accepting it, then unfortunately, um, it's something gonna change. And a lot of people believe politically anyway that even if you do get involved, are we really being heard? So that's a question as well for the masses. But no, but I don't know. I feel when you become feel unwelcome. Do you feel like nobody cares? I mean, how do you truly feel when it comes down to um local issues? I know how I feel. Like, you know, maybe it's so. But anyway, quickly switch other world news. Um, I mean, in Nigeria, there's a group called P Square, and P Square among the pioneers of the sound of the sound now is being Afro beats. So they had all of this years and years ago, way before music streaming. Paul and Peter Okoye, Okoye have experienced both highs and lows since 2003 is when viewed. And then they had like 6 studio albums with the band, like Rick Ross, T.I. thing. I don't know what's going on with me right now. I feel a little loopy, but I turned on air, so hopefully that helps. So maybe I'm just waking up. Anyway, so T.I. Akon and Ty. I never can. Some of these names, it's like why Tiwa Savage. Back in the day, they collabed with the but they went their separate ways and brothers. Right? What do you do at the family reunion? I mean, in some type un because people may not deal with things the way that you would anticipate that they would deal with them. Mm, Who you know lead with their heart and it is one of the things that I like to do to issues. And if you're able to communicate with this person or that's your brother, your sister, to express how you feel so that you can get how they feel so that perhaps what you did against them can be resolved. Because from the side that you're on, you may not get offended if it's money you know, items, people because maybe they- they're feeling some kind of way. Maybe they spent the money or something and they just wasn't honest about it, but they don't wanna tell you. So if it was wrong because they don't have it. But it's nothing different than what we've done in other people want to avoid issues. And fortunate situation when these 2 separated and broke up, their P Square, um, uh, it was quarters behind. And that's sad because if music is something that you really love or really care about, then drop everything because of a disagreement is very upsetting for no reason when you can just talk about it and get it over with and resolve issues. But stuff is, come before a fall. Anybody ever heard of that? And I always feel like, you know, I always bring uh, spiritualness into it because I know God knows my heart and I know that He protects me and He protects those that, He loves and cares about. And He makes sure that, we are able to humble ourselves in diverse and environments. And so you to be humble enough and sometimes if you're not, unfortunately, you continue to go through it and the same things continue to happen to you. Plus, you got the law of attraction. Oh, I worked too much for a while. I worked too many body. So if that's what you believe, that's what you're going to get. So just try to stay happy, folks. Happiness, happy in anything in your forefront and lead for your morning, like my disc that I'm flying high on every day, age of happiness and success. So this has been of D3 Live in our first segment of the day, Wishes for, and that will be my wish. Wishing all of you a wonderful, prosperous, happy, safe, successful, loving life. See you on our next segment in just a moment. Trending topics. Thank you guys.